Today, we're going to be talking about how I changed my life in the simplest terms. So, the first thing I look at is taking an inventory of my life. Like, what's working well, what's not, what are some things I want to change? Like, what are kind of my biggest problems, my biggest pain points? Like, what are those things? And then I determine, okay, what's the biggest problem? Like, what's the one that's going to yield the most result as of now? And then I go every day to working on solving that problem. And so it becomes very simple because it's like I only have this one thing that I want to solve, this one thing that I want to fix. And then after I go through each day, like, how can I solve this problem? Then I actually celebrate after I've gotten that done. And so a lot of times we often discount the things that we're doing that are like creating these little inconveniences or these things that we don't really like or things we want to change, things that are hard for us. We end up just thinking, well, it doesn't really matter, or it's fine, or it's not going to change things. But what ends up happening is if you keep solving your biggest pain point, your biggest problem over and over and over and over and over, your life becomes so much easier. But when we just start to kind of discount these things, we're like, oh, it doesn't really matter like that the laundry is a pain point for me. It doesn't really matter that like eating out is this pain point. It doesn't really matter that like I'm not sure what to cook for dinner every single night and it's a big chaotic mess. It doesn't really matter that that's a problem. When we start to kind of discount these kind of like everyday normal things, then we don't create these systems. We don't create these things being easier in our life and we don't create more enjoyment. So, one of the things that I actually changed was like the laundry. I'm like, okay, here's the situation that's happening is the baskets are getting super full. Then I'm washing them, but then I'm not putting them up. So then we're kind of like going through the basket looking for the thing we want to wear. And then after that, it's becoming a mess because now there's dirty clothes and there's clean clothes, but the clean ones aren't put up. So now we're trying to figure out which ones are clean or dirty. And it's just a big disaster. And so this was just a current pain point. I'm like, okay, I'm going to change this. So what needs to be changed? What can I try? What can I implement? And so then I was like, okay, well, let me just try doing a load of laundry a day. I don't have a load of laundry a day. So some days I get a day off. So that's great. And so then I'm like, okay, so every day I'm getting up and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a load of laundry today. How do I make that happen? Do I need to put it on now? Do I need to put it on later? And so I just start to kind of figure out like I'm going to start a load of laundry and then I'm going to put it up after. So this is never a problem again. Now, how do I make that happen? And so again, it just seems like, oh, that's so simple. We just do it. But then there's these obstacles in our lives. It's like, okay, we're going to this place today. So if I don't do the laundry in the morning, then it's not going to happen. Then I figured out, okay, let me wash the clothes at night. And then in that morning, then I can just put them up before we leave. So I start to troubleshoot each of these things until then it just becomes more normal and it becomes more natural. And so our brain wants a discount like, oh, the laundry, no big deal. Like, let's not even worry about that. Let's not change it. But over time, over and over and over, it then becomes this thing that is a pain point, is a thing that's like causing us this discomfort every single day instead of just changing it. So I want you to kind of take inventory of your life and not discounting any little piece. What is uncomfortable for you? What is causing stress? What do you not like? What feels like a mountain? What feels like a headache? And how can you then work on changing it by using those steps? One, we want to determine what it is. Two, we just want to start solving for it every day. Like, what's the thing we can do today to make this thing easier? And then celebrating that we did it. So every day I did the laundry, like start to finish, I'm like celebrating that. I'm telling someone, like, look, I did this, it's done. And that allows us to really sit in that success because then the next day we're going to do it again. And then we're celebrating again. So we're acknowledging it. So it's becoming more of who we are instead of this thing that we're discounting or we're not paying attention to. And if you want to make taking action to actually make these changes so much easier, then go to successbykayla.com to sign up for my free video, Why You Aren't Taking Action. Because once you determine what you're going to do, then you're going to solve for it, but then you're going to actually have to do the thing. So let's get you doing that thing so much easier. Go to successbykayla.com to get access to your free video now.